Hello, everybody. It's Grace Pedota from the CSE and welcoming you to our weekly Tech Tuesday virtual session. This week, we will be highlighting private technology companies for your work and home. Before I introduce our moderator today, I would like to take a moment to tell you more about CSE TV on YouTube, the Canadian Securities Exchange forum for conversations with business leaders and entrepreneurs. I put a link to CSE TV in the chat room, which you can find to the right of your screen. I will also be posting the registration link for Mining Over Canada, the CSE's innovative digital series. The series features a 6-week cross-country adventure profiling the history, work, and future of the Canadian mineral resource sector from coast to coast to coast. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our moderator today, Mark Francis.
Thank you very much, Grace. And to everyone online for joining us live today, as with every Tuesday, starting 15 minutes after market close, typically with 3 private companies at various stages from North America and abroad. Next week, on the 17th, in conjunction with the Canada-Israel Chamber of Commerce, we will have several Israeli tech companies presenting, some of whom presented earlier this year. Our objective in running Tech Tuesdays is twofold. First, to help technology companies with increasing traction to gain relevant visibility, and second, to help capital markets players by introducing interesting companies, focusing on whether the technology will have commercial traction and why, and also providing new knowledge of what is happening in innovation. For you as attendees, we do ask that you share ideas and feedback with our presenters, leads, possibly funding after due diligence, referral of someone with unique applicable expertise, or maybe even a potential strategic relationship. You can find their contact information in the chat board. With respect, we might refrain from giving management advice unless we're truly experts in the company's particular field, and please don't treat our presenting companies as marketing targets for services. Some housekeeping matters. You will note a red Reconnect tab at the top of your screen if you lose audio. Just click it and you will be reconnected. In the event there are technical problems, we may hit the restart, in which case there is no action required by you. The system will automatically reconnect everyone. We aim to run 45 minutes to 1 hour, and the chat board may be utilized to ask serious questions. Please be clear as to whom your question is being addressed. Note our disclaimer. This presentation is for information only and is not a solicitation to make an investment in either shares or debt or to buy or sell stock. CSE and Mark Francis as session host, i.e. yours truly, make no representation about any of these companies. If you are interested in the investor pitch, please connect with the companies directly in order to get detailed information. Each company will have a 7-minute presentation with their PowerPoint. When you see my face appear, the company has 15 seconds to wrap up. After all companies have presented, we will move to Q&A. Today you are stuck with yours truly as question moderator. Today we have as presenters, Tricia Tomlinson of Seattle, CEO of Staging and Design Network, nominated by Take Stock Investor Conferences, Jason Sparrow, CEO of BarrelWise, nominated by Valhalla Angels and Vantech Angels, and Ash Agarwal, CEO of Symbotic, nominated by Norcat, an incubator in Sudbury. Let's start with Tricia Tomlinson. Tricia spent the last 30 years as executive and principal within residential real estate and commercial banking. Companies she's owned include Trishmark Development, Choice Lending, Trishmark Real Estate, and Trishmark Luxury Staging, which finally led her to her passion, Staging and Design Network. Tricia?
Thank you. Staging and Design Network offers the first shared rental pool and marketplace for home furnishings. I've been involved in the real estate industry for over 30 years, and I have a passion for the staging industry and the people who stage homes. As an agent who became a stager, I fell in love with the design process and seeing a home sell immediately with multiple offers as a direct result of staging. I also understand firsthand the industry challenges of being capital constrained to buy enough furnishings to furnish multiple homes, and also the logistics of managing inventory. My aha came one evening when my husband came home to find the sofa and art missing in our living room. And he said, "Tricia, where is our sofa? You have 12 sofas taking up space in our garage." It was from this experience that I realized no matter how many furnishings I owned, I would never have the right piece for every home. Stagers should be sharing inventory. This insight was the birth of Staging and Design Network. We've become a bigger opportunity with benefits to the entire real estate community, including home buyers and sellers. Members who own furnishings earn rental and sales income. With our platform, home buyers will be able to purchase the beautiful furnishings showcased in the homes they tour, creating the largest furniture showcase available today. Imagine shopping for furniture in the next open house in your neighborhood. Welcome to Staging and Design Network. This is a huge opportunity. It's a $29 billion marketplace, and it's exclusive to the members of our network. 5.1 homes are sold annually, which creates an $18.8 billion market for furnishing sales in homes that are staged. It's a $5.6 billion opportunity for the rental segment of the market. Home staging is the single most effective marketing tool in the real estate industry. According to the National Association of Realtors, homes that are professionally staged sell for up to 18% more in about a third of the time of an unstaged home. It's this reason that, and stagers have limited capacity to stage multiple homes, which limits the income they're able to make as they grow their businesses. It's capital intensive and logistically challenging. Stagers have a slow path to profitability, which makes it also difficult. Our members just want to do what they love and forget the rest. The way that it works is our members place product into the rental pool. Now everyone can access those furnishings online. They now have access to millions of dollars of furniture in the pool. They place their order, we deliver the furnishings, they go to the home and stage the project, and then the home is beautifully showcased. All of the furnishings are available for sale in the home. Either the product sells or we go back to the home and pick up those furnishings and bring them back into the rental pool to become available for the next renter. Behind the scenes, when we have a rental order go out with 50 different pieces, it means we might be paying 50 different people rental income. Our proprietary technology tracks all the commingled inventory and allocates payments to the appropriate inventory owner. Members receive real-time data and reports to manage their inventory. Our members include realtors, designers, stagers, builders, and now we've recently added furniture manufacturers to the pool. Home buyers and sellers are able to purchase those furnishings from our members. Our members are growing. This last year, they staged over 1,800 homes through our platform. They staged over 5.4 million square feet of space within the real estate industry. That's the equivalent of 108 furniture retail locations. Currently, it's a challenge for people to buy inventory in the homes they tour. It's a manual process, and we're working on an app to launch with our next capital raise where members can easily scan the QR code that's on the agent flyer, select the product, check out, and then the members that own those furnishings earn rental income. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, home buyers will, on average, spend $3,700 every time they buy a home. We generate revenue from three sources: rentals, sales, and value-added services. We receive 70% of all rentals, 40% of all product sales, and our revenue breakout includes about 64% of our income coming from rentals, 13% from product sales currently, and then 22% from value-added services. Our mission is to partner with members to share resources, grow their businesses, and inspire design. And our vision is to be the most utilized home staging ecosystem within every real estate community. We've raised $4 million to date. We're extending this round for another $1 million with convertible notes, capped at $12 million with 8% interest.
Very good. And now, Jason Sparrow. Born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, Jason's love of hiking, skiing, and camping inevitably brought him to the West Coast. He began his career in the food equipment industry, working for several years as a marketing and business development manager before co-founding BarrelWise Technologies in 2018. Jason holds a BA in History and Economics from the University of Victoria, as well as an MBA in Innovation and Entrepreneurship from the University of British Columbia. Jason.
Thanks a lot, Mark. So wine has been aged in oak barrels for thousands of years. But as time has gone by, the wineries themselves have gone from being small artisan projects like this to often massive businesses that have embraced technology in almost every aspect of what they do. However, the techniques that are required to care for these aging barrels have hardly changed at all. This is a picture that we took in a large winery of two guys doing their monthly barrel topping routine. Now, barrels lose about a liter per month due to evaporation, and this needs to be replaced, and that's what these guys are doing. And to do this, they're pouring wine from this keg into the mop bucket on the floor, which then goes into a pitcher and then is finally used to top up the barrels. It's very inefficient. When we visited this winery, the barrels were left open for over half an hour, exposing the wine inside to oxygen, bacteria, dust, whatever's in the atmosphere. And the longer that these barrels are open, the more unwanted quality variability there is that occurs between the individual barrels. And ultimately, the more sulfite preservative that the winemakers need to add into the barrels to control the risk of spoilage. And this is how barrels are currently sampled. And what he's doing is he's siphoning wine out of a hard-to-reach barrel, and then this bottle that he's holding will then go to a lab for analysis. And this is such a cumbersome process that only 5 to 10% of barrels actually get sampled and analyzed. And this leads to a significant information gap for winemakers who are trying to manage large fleets of barrels. And finally, the inherent messiness of traditional processes can lead to the risk of cross-contamination between barrels of harmful microbes or even fruit flies like these. So we're BarrelWise. The company was initially founded by 2 MBAs and 2 PhD mechanical engineers, and we've since grown to a team of 9. And our solution to this problem is the world's first comprehensive barrel management system that delivers to wineries operational efficiencies, quality control, and barrel-by-barrel quality insights. And when we trialed this system at Sandhill Winery in Kelowna, we found that our system reduces the time that it takes to do these monthly barrel care tasks by 74%, which contributed to a $55 per barrel per year annual economic benefit for the winery. So how does it work? The first component of the system is a specialized bung, which is the name for a wine barrel cork, as you can see with number 1 here, and that goes in each individual barrel. Secondly, a cart is wheeled around the winery, and the head unit that's attached to this cart will click into each individual barrel via the bung. A small sample is drawn from the barrel, and it's sent back to the cart, where it's analyzed, and an onboard sensor quickly analyzes the free sulfur content of the wine. This is an indicator of overall wine health. This data is then sent to a database where winemakers can view it on a barrel-by-barrel level, and then based on the reading of the sensor, a precision dose of sulfite preservative, exactly what that barrel needs, is added to the barrel, and then the barrel is topped up. So the process is dramatically faster and more efficient than traditional methods, is much cleaner, and efficiently allows every single barrel to be sampled and analyzed. We've demonstrated this concept to wineries from around the world, and the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. In fact, we've had 22 wineries sign up for paid trials, and 3 wineries have purchased the system after successful trials. And Sandhill, one of these in Kelowna, purchased the system for 300 of their barrels in August, and so far they've been so pleased with the results that they've ordered an additional 1,300 more to be delivered in December, which will bring them to 100% adoption of the system. And there are a lot of wineries in the world, and about 35 million barrels worldwide, which for this product is a total market size of 1.3 billion annual recurring. But our beachhead market is really the west coast of North America and the 6,000 wineries in California, Oregon, Washington, and BC. And we're currently focused on 200 of the largest barrel aging wineries in this region, which have about 1 million barrels, representing 36 million annual potential revenue. There are several competing companies that offer what's called smart bungs, and these are essentially sensors that are placed directly in the barrels. However, we believe that our architecture is inherently much more economically viable for the wineries than these offerings, and encourages the collection of a wider data set. Some key milestones for this year for the company. We began a paid trial with Mission Hill Winery in March. They decided to purchase the system in September. Sandhill's initial order was in March, installed in August, a bit of a delay due to COVID, and they're now purchasing the rest of their cellar to be installed in December. In April, we completed a benchtop version of our novel free sulfur sensor, which matches commercial sensors in terms of accuracy, but performs the measurements 5 to 10 times faster. In July, we began paid trials with 2 wineries in California that are part of the Treasury Wine Estates Group, and TWE is the 4th largest producer in the world. And in December, we'll be beginning a trial with the Canoe Ridge facility, a St. Michel winery in Washington, which has about 80,000 barrels. And finally, we've recently closed a financing round of 1.15 million Canadian on a safe note, and have a project underway that has a $400,000 non-dilutive contribution from IRAP. And this provides a cash runway for BarrelWise through Q1 of 2022, at which point we'll be looking to raise a larger round. So thanks for your time. If you'd like to stay up to date with our progress or otherwise discuss BarrelWise further, here's my contact information. Just send me an email or give me a call. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jason. Today, our entrepreneurs are very concise. And Ash Agarwal. Prior to Symboticware, Ash served Uptake Technologies as Managing Director of the mining business and VP of Sales. Previously, Ash co-founded an AI startup dedicated to the mining industry and holds a master's degree from the Stanford Graduate School of Business, where he mentored several startups on business planning, product market fit, and public speaking. Ash is a guest faculty at Stanford University School of Engineering and at Schulich School of Business at York University, Toronto, and has a podcast for mining and tech companies called Core Insights. Ash?
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. My name is Ash, and today I'm going to talk about Symboticware. Symboticware enables mining companies to be friends with their machines, trucks, shovels, dozers, and everything in between. And it's almost a cliche today that the mining industry always struggles with the reliability, productivity, and safety of those machines and their operators. And over the past several decades, this problem hasn't been able to resolve completely. And there are multiple reasons when it comes to mining assets. Over the past decade, the data analytics solutions started to solve some of those productivity, reliability, and safety problems. But one challenge that always remained when it comes to mobile assets was there was no access to data. And there were so many different reasons for that. One, majority of those solution providers were from the OEM, the machine manufacturers. And if a mining company has multiple brands of machines, it becomes very cumbersome to have multiple solutions. Second problem that mining companies always had is that because these OEMs, the machine manufacturers, they have an incentive to sell more parts and services, and mining companies, the operators, they have incentive to save money on parts and services. The incentives were never aligned. So those were kind of the challenges that the industry has been struggling, and that became the genesis of Symboticware as a nerve center for the mining industry to provide access to data to the mining companies. I'll talk about our solutions, our product in a little bit more details, but our value proposition for the mining industry is that we help mining companies stay connected with their machines so that they can detect issues early and prevent any unplanned downtime. And now, why does this matter? This matters because there are more than 500,000 mobile machines across the mining industry, underground and open pit. There are actually 800,000 in 2020, but even for 500,000 machines, the average impact of any telemetry solution that we provide is about $100,000 every year. Simple math tells us is that this is $50 billion worth of opportunity if we try to serve all the mining companies. If we try to apply analytics on top of it, the value multiplies 3 times. So instead of $50 billion of value to be generated for mining industry, we're talking about $150 billion. Now from 0 to 50 and from going to 50, from 50 to 150, there are certain challenges that come across, and our company exists to solve those challenges so that our customers, they don't lose money, they don't compromise on the safety of their machines and their people. I'm going to structure this presentation in 3 things. Very simple: who we are, what do we offer, and third is a sneak peek of what is keeping us busy, what are we creating right now, something that the world has never seen yet. So in terms of who we are, like I told before, Symboticware is the nerve center of mining intelligence. We provide access to all important data from mobile assets, underground, open pit, multiple OEMs, multiple manufacturers, no worries. We act as a system of intelligence nerve center. And not only we get access to all the data from the sensors that are installed on the machine by default, but we also integrate with third-party systems, for example, tire pressure monitoring system, fuel optimization system, emission system, everything, or seatbelt monitoring system. We integrate everything into one place so that our customers have a holistic view of what's happening with their fleet, what their people are doing, what their machines are doing. And we are truly purpose-built as in when our customers tell us, hey, I've got this problem, we jump in and say, let us solve that. For example, one customer came to us and said, we have a payload management system so that we can monitor the load on our truck. But the problem is that when the truck is in motion, the shockers, they act funny and they do not allow us to get an accurate reading of payload system. Our team of software developers, data scientists, they wrote a couple lines of code and they got the error within single-digit % of error. That kind of thing. So some very cool 2 or 3 line of codes that create magic. Similarly, a customer came to us and said, I want to understand the seatbelt system. I want to make sure that my operators plug in the seatbelt the moment they start a truck. It's not after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, because we want to avoid any untoward incident 100%. We help them do that. So those are the kinds of things that make us the nerve center and also a purpose-built system. Now, the cherry on top of our system is we enable advanced analytics. We enable AI and machine learning on top of our data. Our data coming from the machine is the most comprehensive you will find in the market. And we have done several case studies. Like I said, the value driven by analytics, the advanced analytics, is 3 times as much as a simple telemetry solution. And we have proved it. In one of the pilot that we did with a large gold mining company in Nevada district in USA, proved $150,000 of value per haul truck, and they had a fleet of 40. So you can imagine, I'm talking about millions of dollars of value creation. That money is being left on the table today. If they don't have our solution, that money is being left. I'm talking about billions of dollars value in the industry. Now, like I said, we create enormous value for our customers, and that value makes us a platform of choice. That makes us a solution of choice. And for many of our customers, we are the standard solution. They measure others against us. They always come to us first. And don't take my word for it. We are present across dozens of large mining companies in Canada, in US, in Australia, across the world. You name a large mining company, and chances are we are already present. Some of the mining companies' logos are already listed here. Some companies, some people don't want to go into the public, but they're not listed. But the point is, most of the mining companies across the world, they have understanding of us. Am I running late, Mark? Okay, let me go quickly. Okay. So these are our major solutions: is end-to-end hardware solutions, reliability services, and state-of-the-art software, purpose-built end-to-end. What we're trying to do is create a system of intelligence, a system that the world has never seen before. It enables the big data AI companies to provide their solution at rocket speed and delivers value, which is 3 times as much. We are going to be in the market anytime soon. And like Tricia mentioned, the staging creates 3 times value in 1/3 of the time. We are doing some staging work in our company, but happy to engage with any potential investor if they want to know more.
Thank you, Ash.
Thank you.
Now we will bring back all of our panelists for the inquisition. Good to have you all back. So let's start at the beginning and talk about the genesis for the idea. And Tricia, you've already given us quite an amusing anecdote about it. Tell us where it started and what were the next couple of steps which were taken.
Are you asking me?
Sorry, I've neglected to say, let's go Tricia, Jason, Ash on this one.
I think you're right. I pretty much shared that the idea really came from personal experience of knowing I would never have the right piece of furniture for every home, and that the business model for other stagers is really difficult to scale. So I thought, why shouldn't we be sharing inventory? The reality is that real estate agents share listings. Why can't stagers share inventory? So I first started working on the shared rental pool, and I realized that stagers not only needed a place to be able to go and access furnishings that other stagers own, basically a larger pool of furnishings that they could acquire on their own, but they also needed a way to source furnishings. So we created an opportunity for them to buy through our network to place those products in the pool at member prices. And then they also needed to keep those inventories fresh, which is why we're making their product available for sale as well. So it's evolved over time. Last year, I think I mentioned that we staged over 1,800 homes within the Puget Sound region alone. And our top stager has been with us since 2016. We launched in 2015, and they have spent $288,000 in furnishings. And I was looking online yesterday, and she's in the middle of putting another order together. So that's growing, and I'll stop talking so somebody else can answer the questions.
Great. So yeah, BarrelWise actually began as a university project of all things. It took a class at the Sauder School of Business during my MBA that put us together with STEM students, where we met two guys who were doing their PhD in mechanical engineering. And we had a colleague at the time who worked for a rum company in Venezuela, and got us onto the issue of these oak barrels. And so we took the project fairly seriously and spent the summer as an internship driving around to wineries and kind of cold calling them to test if this was a problem. And then once we graduated, we joined an incubator at UBC and started to pursue it full time. And that was a couple of years ago now.
So our company started in 2008 to solve one simple idea that mining companies don't have access to their own data from the machines. So we started from that point, trying to build a solution. And you can imagine 12 years back, getting that data of the machine, and the technology was so novel that we were granted patent in US and Canada. That technology is pretty much common today. Now, like I said, system of intelligence, the idea of that came from when I was at Uptake. I started that business at Uptake for mining vertical. And when I was going out in the market, trying to sell an AI software, the biggest challenge AI software companies have is that they don't have data. Without data, they can't do anything. And that's when I joined Symboticware 8 weeks back, that's something I said, we need to solve this. We need to create a platform where we not only provide access to the customers, to the data, but we also create a system where the AI companies can come in and provide analytics very easily and simply, shortening the sales cycle and providing the faster time to value for our customers. That's something that we are creating now. Is always, we are a purpose-built solution provider to the industry, and we will always stay on the leading edge of innovation and technology.
So let's talk a little bit more about what happened just after you started, after the company started. Let's talk about strategic partner or strategic customer. So did you build a preliminary system or tool and then go and get their endorsement, or did you get a strategic partner's endorsement and then go and build the first version? And let's go Jason, Ash, and Tricia.
Yeah, so we try not to build anything or spend any time on it until we have some validation. So we had the first winemaker that we got in contact with was one of our co-founders, basketball coach's friend or something like that. And so we before we actually built anything, we went to as many wineries as we could with CAD drawings, and had the winemakers take red pen to it, and so really the development was very fueled by feedback of the end users.
Yeah, and then in terms of strategic partnership, I would say that we have been so fortunate that the very first system that we designed was with the help of a machine manufacturer and one of their biggest dealers in the market. And they themselves were trying to solve something, and then they said, "Hey, can you help me solve this problem?" We solved it, and ultimately we ended up creating technology that would become Symboticware today, scaling across the globe and spanning hundreds of units in the market. But ultimately, the customers picked it up, and now we are at dozens of customers. So to your point, we did start with that strategic partnership with the machine manufacturer and the dealer.
So we started with the staging industry. I belong to the Real Estate Staging Association, was the chapter president in the state of Washington, and I had the idea of staging and design network, but I wasn't sure whether it would be embraced, and it would be expensive to build because you need to develop the technology. So I got buy-in from the staging community first, built the technology, and then went to the real estate community because there are more realtors that stage than there are actual stagers. Last year, we were one of 8 companies selected for the 2019 REACH Business Accelerator, which is owned by Second Century Ventures, which is also owned by the National Association of Realtors. And so that really jump-started our volume. We'll be at 3 million this year despite COVID. And then we had some challenges this last year. We hit the ceiling cap on our rental capacity with inventory, and we could have done much more. Our demand has exceeded our amount of inventory in the pool. So we reached out to furniture manufacturers to also participate in the pool. And we have our first testimonial that we got probably about a month ago from a furniture manufacturer who basically said they loved the process. It was simple to get started. They decided to do it as a test and have found it to be a gold mine. They've more than paid for their inventory, and they just collect checks every month. So that's kind of where we're at now. Our focus is always technology because there's a lot of different components to running the model, but hopefully that answered your question, Mark.
Yeah. Well, we're going to now get into the technology. So in regards to your technology push, was it a very big leap at first, intense development, followed by refinements and to focus on business development? Or do you find the technology advancement effort is still almost as intense as at the very beginning? And this time, let's go Ash and Tricia and Jason.
Sure. So in terms of the technology advancement, I would say that it is former, that we had a spike of technological development. Like I said, 12 years back, we invented this technology, store and forward, that allows mining companies to get access to their data, even if the machines are not connected to the internet. And we were granted patent in US and Canada for that. That was a spike on technology. And then we started doing more refinement over the period of time while building the business. And now we are seeing another spike in technology where we are now integrating machine learning and AI and creating this system of intelligence. So it's another spike. Like I said, this is something that is keeping our teams busy in creating something that the world has never seen. So again, it's going to be a technology spike followed by a commercialization and business development activity?
Sorry. We started with the technology, and it was a huge challenge. We had contracted with providers that really didn't do a great job, so we ended up rebuilding the entire technology, and we're at the point now where it's working really well. We have a lot of different components to it, a lot of opportunities within our technology, so it's always evolving. We have a backlog. We're doing sprint planning sessions every week and doing new releases continually. So we consider ourselves a technology company, and I don't expect that to end anytime soon.
So for us, it was a big leap at first to sort of get to the minimum viable product where we could actually get in and start having users. But it really hasn't slowed down, because the MVP for us is really sort of the thin edge of the wedge. There's a lot more things, including software and more sensors that we can add on to the initial technology. So it's actually more of a push these days, and we have a larger technical team.
That's interesting. Slightly different for each of you. Now let's move to marketing, and we're going to talk about geographic spread and the cost of opening up new markets and how you are viewing expansion. And instead of geography, it might be other verticals if you're not so geography focused. And let's talk about whether your focus is to intensify your footprint in existing markets or spread out in some way geographically or to other verticals. And let's go Tricia, Ash, and Jason.
Yeah, well, we developed the model and knew that we were going to have to own locations to understand how it fully functioned. And so we have 3 locations at present, 2 in the Puget Sound region and 1 in Phoenix that we just opened this last year. This next year, our focus is digital expansion. We have an opportunity to utilize our inventory management software with members who can manage their inventory without us, in a number of other services that we provide as well, for easy pricing, marketing themselves, etc. What this will give us the opportunity to do is see what stagers are in what markets, see what inventories in what markets, see what orders are going on in those markets before we decide to open more of our own locations or do a subscription model with offering the marketplace and retaining royalties as a part of our revenue in the markets we choose not to be in. It costs about $750,000 to open a location. We'll generate about $10 million per location. Our customer acquisition costs are $48.41 per member, and once our members place furniture in the pool, they don't leave. Currently, our annual value of a member is about $13,000, and I think I already mentioned that our top member has spent $288,000 with us so far.
I'll try to answer that in 2 ways. One is the positive, and one is which is negative. The absolute positive thing about us, for us, is that we deal with machines that are universal across the world. A yellow haul truck is a yellow haul truck in US, in China, in India, in Asia, and everywhere. And our solution works across OEMs, across manufacturers, across platforms. So that gives us immense scalability across the world. So there is no reason we should be stopping in expanding across multiple geographies, and that's exactly what we're doing. The flip side to it is the mining is a slow industry. The decision making doesn't happen as quick as in a consumer segment. So there is a lot of cost to acquiring customer involved, and the sales cycles are long, which means that you have to open an office and you have to run with your own money for several months before you see any order from a customer. For that reason, we have followed a strategic approach is we nail it and then we scale it. So this company started in Canada, and then we opened another office in US for US and Mexico and Arizona after we secured certain customers to run that office sustainably. Same thing we are doing across Australia, South Africa, and South America. And this way, for that, we are relying on our resellers. So like I showed you in the slides, we have a global sales and support network across the world who can sell on our behalf and who can also provide support to our customers on our behalf. And once we have that sustainable business going on in that market area, we have that subscription model coming and sustainable revenue, we will think about opening a location in the major markets like Australia, in South America, and South Asia.
So our focus at the moment is really on the U.S. Most of the wineries, when they get to the scale that there are target market, which we call it sort of 1,000 barrels and up, which is a fairly large winery. Most of them in North America are located in California. So we've just brought on our first team member down there, and there's about 6,000 wineries in North America. So there's quite a bit for us to work with here. But our the winery business is a very global business, and so we'd like to in our timeline about late 2022 expand to first of all Australia, New Zealand, followed by South America, and ultimately Europe. But a little ways to go before we do that.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you, Jason, about the cost of acquiring a customer. Tricia's given us that very precise number. She has a lot of customers. She's able to generate that data. Ash doesn't have quite as broad a customer base, so it was a more general answer. But Jason, do you know how much it costs you to acquire a new customer at this point, or an approximate?
Yeah, so it's we don't have enough customers to have a really representative number yet. We do think that, I mean, given the nature of our product, what tends to happen is the wineries want to try it for a period first, and we've seen that be kind of around 6 months. And you know, with that validation, we're building case studies and testimonials, and so we want that to shrink dramatically in the future. And the other unknown piece is the adoption curve. And so it's, you know, we've seen some go from like a trial to 100% adoption, but there's many different types of wine. And so we think that on average, it won't typically be 1 to 100%. It'll be more like, you know, a trial to 50%, then another vintage, and then maybe 75%. And so, you know, not quite enough to say definitely what our cost of customer acquisition is. It's just that we expect that it will be decreasing with time.
Fair enough. So on this next question, we'll go Jason, Ash, and Tricia, and it's about centers of influence as opposed to direct sales. So do you find that you do best by going directly after a customer, or do you find that using centers of influence is better? And if so, talk a little about each of those, which approach you use.
Yeah, so for us at this stage, we go directly to the wineries ourselves. We call them and build a relationship. There's other possibilities for the future, but we're relatively early stage, and so we want that feedback and we want that relationship. But there are other channels. There are many winery equipment providers that could help, especially when we start to look at other countries. There's the actual coopers, which are the barrel manufacturers, and they tend to have large sales forces. So there's opportunities to partner there. But now and for the foreseeable future, we like to get in there ourselves.
Yeah, and for our solution, we always prefer to go direct. That shortens the sales cycle, generates trust easily. But we have seen success through not only our resellers, but also our partners and ecosystem players. So for example, if there is a system integrator who does the peripherals for the mining industry, or mining customer, we can tie our solution with them, and they can sell our solution on our behalf. For example, the AI companies, we partner with companies like Uptake, and they sell our solution on our behalf very easily. And similarly, for other partners like our resellers, they are very, very effective. But ultimately, nothing can compete with the direct sales, which is short sales cycle and more control on the sales process.
I think we do both. We do both direct and industry collaboration, which is why we agreed to participate in the REACH program this past year. That gave us the opportunity to connect with all of the business owners within the real estate community. Also gave us the opportunity to add some of the top leaders in the industry to our executive board. As far as going direct, we work a lot with referrals. There's a lot of connection with, we have a concierge tool, which is white label for the real estate industry, where they can, their agents can go into a home and with a stager and present a video on staging and do a quick pricing tool, and then apply for pay at close if they don't want to pay for the staging up front. And so that's really the agents out there marketing our services. We also are a network, so we bring in educators and community leaders that can help stagers through the Real Estate Staging Association, the National Association of Home Stagers. Yeah, we do both, go direct and through the industry channels as well.
Very good. So the penultimate question that I will be asking you each today, is your COGS or your profit margin sufficiently strong enough that it can get you to cash flow positive on your existing operations, or as you believe your sales will be within, say, six or 9 months, whatever your cash provides you in terms of current runway? And let's go Ash and then Jason and Tricia.
Yeah, so currently we are cash flow positive already. So that gives us a lot more room to play. But like I said, we are creating this system of intelligence, and we are hiring. So please reach out to me if you're watching and you are looking for something interesting. So we are hiring, and for that reason, we will be out in the market to raise capital to grow exponentially. The growth rate that we are projecting for the next year will definitely require us to raise capital.
So we are not yet cash flow positive. We're just sort of getting our initial sales, and so we expect to be by the end of 2022.
We were cash positive in 2018, and then we opened our Phoenix market, which we're not yet cash positive on. We're not focused on being I mean, obviously we have 55% gross margins, and we want each location to be profitable on its own, but our focus is growth and market share at this point.
Very good. And the ultimate question, do you intend to grow and reap the cash flow, or exit via an M&A process and benefit your shareholders in that way? And let's close here with Trish, Jason, and Ash.
I expect we'll be acquired, and I can't really say a whole bunch more than that, but there are a lot of different components to our business model that are appealing. If you look at some of the other companies out there that have the network effect, I'm going to stumble all over myself here. There are a lot of industries that would be particularly interested in us, from the furnishings industry to the real estate industry to the rental industry, and so on. So I expect we'll be acquired.
Yeah, it's early days for us, and anything can happen. But the plan is currently to have an acquisition at some point, and the possible targets for that. There's several large suppliers to the industry, or even a large wine producer themselves, like a Constellation or something like that, would be a possibility for us.
Yeah, Symboticware has a couple of strengths that make it a very attractive target for anybody in our industry, maybe machine manufacturer, ecosystem players, or anybody. But I am not ruling out a potential M&A activity. But I would just say that the timing of that is important. Too early means that we are compromising on our valuation, and too late, maybe we are missing on something. So that timing is something that we are trying to figure out. The immediate opportunity for us is to raise some capital and be presentable, be acquirable, if that's a term. So in Tricia's terms, we are doing some staging, we are doing some foundational change, so that we become an even more attractive target.
Can I answer it one more time?
You bet. Sure.
Thank you. So I mentioned the furniture industry, I mentioned the real estate industry. I really failed to mention the industries like Houzz, Pinterest, who are now getting into the home furnishings industry, and companies like Amazon, who don't have the shared rental pool component. It'd be a lot less expensive for them to buy us than to develop the niche market that we've already created. So I think those are players that are going to be interested in us down the road as well.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. Excellent Q&A session. Appreciated, pardon me, appreciated the variety of answers we had today, which made sense for each of you. So thank you to our presenters, Tricia Tomlinson, CEO of Staging and Design Network, Jason Sparrow, CEO of BarrelWise, and Ash Agarwal, CEO of Symboticware. May you all have continued success in expanding your businesses. Thank you to you, our attendees, for your time today. Go to the company websites and learn more about these companies. If you have a lead for them, do connect. Now let's bring on Grace Pedota of CSE for closing remarks.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you to everyone who joined our session today. And thank you to our presenters. When you have a moment, go to CSE TV on YouTube. I've provided the link in the chat, which should appear at the top right corner. And this session, along with all of our other great content the CSE publishes, will be on CSE TV. Make sure to tune in next Tuesday. That will feature updates from Israel. And our Tech Tuesday session next week will coincide as well with Mining Over Canada. Thank you again for joining us.